Okay, so I'm gonna try not to waste your time because, like, you know, um, it takes too long watching these videos. So image commit. So again, this is the purpose of this app is to allow the user to upload and then below it there's gonna be a bunch of comments about this image here, and there's also gonna be some response to the comments too, right? So um, we got some data in the database. We built this data structure here, and we also like inserted some, some made up data as an image, and also like some comments in here, right? And asked ChatGPT to help me with inserting the records here. But designing a cloud data structure here is very time consuming. You got to get it perfect or near perfect, all right? The the naming convention here, document ID, all of these ID, you have to make it to where Nichi Nyunwa understand, because I can easily name this like image ID and then get messed up with like this right here, mapping to this, right? So do not do that. Make sure 係啲嗰種 ID 睇嗰種 naming 嗰種 column 咯，你去 confuse 個when 同個 machine That's very important when you go to design your databases, your database structure for it, right? Some people they don't take their time to do it right. They rush through just so that they get it done. They cause a shit ton of problems for everybody and also themselves later. So naming convention, you have to be very, very clear that this is not image ID. It's actually a document ID, right? And I mean, get as close as possible to perfect, and then after that, when you go to execute these inside of MySQL, um, things make a lot more sense, easier to use too. 有個我始終咧，就 app 了 so you do not want to do that. 有個 name 容易嘅，個我你用咧就同個冇字個 app 呢，就你個我到你 really really advanced 咯，你只冇辦法的呢。Okay, so it's very very important. So at this point, we're just pulling data from the comments table. We're also pulling comments from the image here. So basically, we're querying the comments here, and we eventually need to pull data from the image as well, from the image table as well. So here, yesterday, we created this one. I'm just going to enter something down here. There's nothing here. We built two test cases here. Yeah, let you enter anything. Then you just some break. Take a look, enter two, no longer pull back, to pull information. So we did this here. This is like comment. This is getting the replies from comments. So getting the replies from comments. So this is interesting. We got this already. The next thing we're going to create is actually query record get comments by image ID. Right. So again, use the query record here, and then just quickly launch the query editor and search for your data type, and then just go to IC um, comment, because we're actually looking up comment, or you just type comment here, right? And then comment, and then continue. Then you got create a query rule here. So this is image ID, right? So image ID, and then type is number. Um, the image ID, it's not the same thing as a comment ID. Okay, you have to understand that. Boom. Now go to filter. We're gonna create a new filter. We're just gonna say this image ID matches this rule input, or actually, you know what? Image ID, yes, matches this rule input. So rule input here. Boom. We're done here. Generate. Okay. So now, if I were to go to two, there's only two images out there. I know for sure, right? Data, you got 41 comments based on this one image alone. So you also have about 19 comments for the first image, and for the second image, you got about 41 comments. for the second image. So what if you have, so you want to create test case, right? We're going to save test case 1, right? And then we're just going to say 1, and then create duplicate, and 2, and then create duplicate. Null. Null means that you did not enter anything into this field here. Let's leave it blank, and then create duplicate. And what if we want to create something that is beyond our numbers here, right? So we want to do that, and create. And now you got a bunch of test cases, 4 test cases here. Click on it, and then go to run all tests, and then everything checks out. Go back to ad hoc. Really, you want to pull data from data instead. So you got to go back to the test case and run all tests again. Everything should appear to be passing. Um, okay, that's interesting. So nothing breaks now. Let's try it again. List of comments here, right? Here, nothing. Even if we leave it blank, nothing. Well, look, if we leave it blank, we don't want it to just continuously pull data in like this. We don't want that, right? You have to let you provide an image ID. There should be nothing here. So we're just gonna throw if a bang is null or empty, right? Image ID, and then we're just gonna return a null here. Okay. And then here we'll make the corrections here, and then boom, test. Now that's working. Let's go back to test cases. Run all tests. Everything checks out. Okay, everything checks out. Click save changes. Well, okay, so there's an issue. What? Uh, wait a minute. What? Um, save changes. Just copy this. Control copy this. I'm just gonna save it. Now I'm going to refresh this because I already copied this already in my thing. Okay. So since I already created the code, copied the code in my clipboard, I'm just gonna say comments by image ID, and I'm just gonna create this one. Paste the code here. Generate a new image ID number, and then the 뭐전 test case not 따라. Screw it, fucking asshole. One. This is gonna be 1, 2. It's gonna be 2, and then a massive number here. Create. Okay. Test cases. All right. Everything checks out. It's good. Save changes. Boom. We save changes. We had some issues saving it because like I deleted it or something in order for me to create this video here, right? So now we got 2 of these, right? And so here's what we hope to have, right? We hope that we can get the image at the top, and then so we need to be able to query the record for the image as well. So I'm going to build a query get image by let's see, by image ID. No, give me get image by ID. Right. So we're just going to create this, and then we're going to do a bang query record type, and then a query by identifier. Right. Actually, query record by identifier. There we are. Now we'll use the query editor. I think this one doesn't have a query editor. So we'll just do a record type here. Or it will be a record type bang IC. And we're going to do image here, and we're going to do identifier here as the RID. So we're going to provide the ID here, number, and we're going to start building out test cases for this. We're going to say test case, this is null, right? And then we'll leave this one. We're going to duplicate this one. We're going to make this one 1, create duplicate. And we're going to make this one like a large number here. Great. All right, we're going to test case. Submit test cases here. Null error here, right? So we're going to say if a make is null, RI, ID, then we're just going to say no. Otherwise, we return something here, right? Run all test cases, right? Boom. Null here, that checks out. So this is a good quality because under different test cases, imagine you have enter something that's null, then it's good, it doesn't break. Enter 1, it's good, it doesn't break. It actually returns the record. Call it enter a large number that does not exist as an ID, as an identifier, then it does return that. Okay, so now what we need is we have this one that returns only one record. What we want to do now is we want to pull all images. Well, actually, I think for now we can deal with one image for now. So we're gonna open up this interface here that I created. I see image comments here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to just say image. Actually, you know what? I'm going to upload some images, and what we're going to do is, no, forget about that. I'm just going to use the image piece here, but I think before we do that, I might want to build probably 2 sections. Because think about it, the top section here, top section up here is going to be where the image is at. Down here is going to be where the comments are at, right? So we're just going to quickly build this out to be something that looks like this, and then drag another section in here. All we want is a proof of concept. So here, we're just going to say image, and then here we're just going to we're just comments, right? And then we're just going to put the image quickly up here as a proof of concept, and then down here, the comment section here, right? We're gonna have to come up with some way to display the data here, down here, in a meaningful way. But for example, you got a document ID here, right? Document ID. This is actually coming from the image. I think what we need to do is probably we need to return a record here, and we're going to be using IC, right, image, because the image is actually going to be the one that comes into this. And so we're going to create, and then we're also going to probably return okay, so we're just going to say record of image type. And so then here we can say, for this image, I actually want a document image, right? And I want this image to be, if I go to the designer, I can open up the components here. And I could say like, okay, so we got this image, example image document here. Uh, Here, the document to display an image. So for now, I guess what we can do is we can say this, and then let's for example let's put the let's take the image here and let's actually draw out the label for this thing. Let's move up the chain right here. Over here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna assign this. We're gonna tap into the rule inputs here. Is there an option for me to tap into the rule inputs domain? Right, would be RI record. Right, so you click on this X and it allows you to see all the domains you can use. Right in here. So RI record. And then you could say um, record type bang, then IC image, and then you go to fields, and then doc ID, what actually document ID, and then there you are, you're good. So now imagine I save this so I don't lose my work, something. Go to test, and then what we're going to do is we're going to call this rule that we created, get image, query record, get image by ID. So I'm going to say rule bang, I say query record, get image by ID. Let's say ID here is 1, something like that. So we're gonna test interface here. Notice that 1 appears up here. So I'm just gonna save this as a default here. And then from here, actually, what we can do is we can start displaying data as far as like comments, right? So we're just gonna throw a paragraph in here, and we're just gonna say inside this paragraph here, the display value, we want it to be record. Um, well, actually, you know what? In this display value, let's open it up. What we really want to do is we really want to get all of the um, comments for this image, right? So we're going to do a image, we're going to do a rule.ic underscore query record get comment by image, right? And then we're going to pass in um, image ID. Then we're going to do a record, well, RI record, right? That references this guy here, and then we have to open parentheses and do a record type here. Tap into this, do a IC image because we're trying to pull this guy. He's actually an image dot image ID, which I think we're talking about not the document ID, but we are talking about the ID here. Okay. So click OK here. Okay, so as you can tell, we pulled a ton of data into this. What we're going to do is we're going to stretch out this window so we can see more of it, just for clarity. Right, so I'm just going to do the tall, height is tall. Okay, it's a little bit more visible, right? So we got comments down here. This is the data. This is all data, right? It doesn't necessarily format it in good format, but it is data pertaining to this image here. So I haven't really done this before, but we could break down this into smaller into each sort of like each object, right? And so a comment is that it's actually something that is read only, right? So we could play around with this some more down here, right? At this point, it's you can be clicking around in here, but for me, I like to get into the expression editor here, and I like to play around with it in here some more, right? I don't really like to click over here because within this, you know, I can actually just probably loop through um, all of the comments here. And in fact, I can create a local variable up here and store this guy here into this. I can probably do a bang local variable here and then just do a close it off properly, right? And then put my variables up here and I can say comments, right? Or say comments by image ID or something like that. Boom. And then like I have this comment by image ID here that I could just throw into this, right? Because when the page loads up, what you want to see is you want to see all the comments ready for this image here, right? And so notice that inside of comments you have about 19. So if you do this, then you can clearly see that, hey, you got 19 in here. But if you did not do this, then basically you only get a total mess in here and then it's gone. So if you do this, now you can see that you got 19 comments in here. Um, so what you can do is you could loop through all of these and you can start creating like just you can create a paragraph where you can create a read only, right? And maybe you want to just um, keep this open or whatever. What I what I think I can do is I can do a bang for each. This basically is going to loop through all of our comments and we can apply an expression to it. Like this piece of code here is a bang for each, right? And we're just going to do an FV item here, right? And so um, a bang for each item here. We're going to do a expression rule here. Um, Ideally, maybe we need to add additional code because I think in terms of somewhere, you cannot just do that. You have to add it to you have to do a component something, right? Maybe you can do a text field here, right? And then you can do uh perhaps maybe a value and then just print out the value and do a read only, something like that, right? True, and then close it off. So now what you get is you get each individual line here. But if you turn read only to false, each one of these are on its own line here, right? So you don't really want this to because all you want is the text. So you might want to say item.text, right? And then actually, I'm not sure. Maybe we might have to break this down further into IMAP instead, right? So we know that you have a record here. What you could do is you can say, yeah, that's great, right? We have a record here, but we want to explicitly say that it is of type um, comment here, right? And then um, and then we could drill down to maybe the text here. Actually, you know what? Oops. Maybe this is not gonna work. Ideally, we'll probably have to convert this over into a IMAP instead of a comment, right? So we could display this by this. We could say that, hey, look, it is populating here. And if we really wanted to, we could display that, hey, it is populated inside of this guy here. Now, what I could do is I could convert this to a map. Right, I can say map, um, maybe a type of a Bing map, and then uh, let's see if this is part of the code that works here. Actually, here, type of map. And we have to cast this. So yeah, so now we can get the text. Well, this is so now we get the text, but this isn't probably what you want to do as well. You probably want to have more information in here or something, right? And you probably want these to be read only, and you probably want like for there to be a reply button underneath it, and you probably want to have an edit button. Oh, all this stuff, all the regular. If you go to Facebook, right, or you go to a different platform, you can kind of tell like the commenting. If you go to Google right now and say um, Facebook comment reply, boom, and then you go to image, and you can kind of tell that some of these they have. Here's what this one looks like. Right, you have the ability to reply to it down here, right? So you kind of tell like there's a comment here and it's made by this person, and then you got the like and reply, and you got the ability to respond to it or upload an image and stuff like that. So imagine if we created a tool like this, which Appian does not have at all, right? Then we're like 1 year ahead of everybody because we created something that would take us probably would take other people like a couple of years. I mean, not a couple of years, but a couple of months to build. And yeah, they let you bolt one in and bolt one out. So we think in terms of building something like this where people can come in here, they can type, they can reference each other and so forth. So you can get really cool, really advanced with this, right? But you have to build it. You have to say, okay, so what do I want inside of here, right? So ideally you can build this entire thing. On the left side here, you can have like an image or something, and then like to the right there's a comment, and then all of this. All of these things are little widgets that goes together, right? So if we were to build this thing right off the bat in here, um, you cannot do it all in here in one interface. We have to stack these things so that it makes sense, you know. So for example, I'm just going to save this as an example, right? And then we have to build something that looks like this. We can say, okay, so this is actually the comment that came from somebody, but we need to load up the user's profile image on the left side here, right? So imagine if you did something like, okay, so I'm going to create another interface, and I'm just going to say uh, comment um, comment box or comment reply widget something. Or maybe it's just a comment. No, no, no. It's actually a comment in reply um, tool, right? So you can say this. You can say, okay, so I want comment and reply, right? Uh, Actually, maybe you want to like display comment and reply, right? Or maybe as an interface, um, maybe it's just a comment and reply, right? Great. Create an interface from scratch. We're just gonna throw some crap, crazy shit out here just to make it quick. So let's say for example, we're just gonna have to like two columns out here, and we're just gonna say, well, it doesn't have to be two columns. Maybe it could be, yeah, it could be two columns here. Well, let's look at it again. So we got 1 and 2 here, right? So here we're just gonna say, um, I want a card in here, and I also want a card in here. And I'm gonna delete this one, and then I'm gonna make this one smaller, right? I'm gonna make this shape rounded so that it's a little bit more, you know, more like on the side of modern. And and then I'm just going to throw a rich text in here, right? Oop, that's wrong. So I throw a rich text in here and maybe just throw icon, not really icon, but image icon. Maybe a rich text on the right side here as well. That's not so rich. Paste it in here. So I'm going to say that this is going to have to be a record, right? We're going to do a SGA. No, not SGA. What the fuck am I doing? IC comment, right? Or a comment and then find it. Because some of these are named without the underscore. So we're just going to this only occupies one thing, right? One comment. It's on the left side, on the right side here. We're just going to do maybe a style text. And we're just going to say that this style text is actually has the value of, see here, this is the value. And see, the problem with this is that, okay, so it's got style text here. How do I, um, okay, so I can actually update this using this now. So if we use the editor, we can actually style it to where it's actually italic or slanted like that. And then now we can configure item here. Now when you go to configure item here, it's got the styling emphasis on it. So now we're going to do a RI record, right? And we want to do a record type, and then we want to say IC. We want to say comment, and then we want to say field, and then we want to say um, field. We want to say text. This is the text that goes in here, right? So we know that the text will go in here. Let's create a test case here, and then we'll just go do a record type here. Actually, we're gonna do, yeah, we could do a record type here. Let me show you how to do it. I see comment here. We're gonna build a constructor, and then we're gonna do a record type here, and I see comment. Then we're gonna do a field here, and then we're going to fields, and then we're going to text, and we're just gonna say this is equal to like hi Alina, something like that, right? So let's save this as a default. Okay, boom. We got a test case here. It appears to be working as expected. What is also inside of our rule is, let's go back to our test case. Maybe we need to add something else here. So right here, I'm just gonna say next line here. Let's update. What other fields do we have? We have image ID as well. Well, the image ID looks at a person, right? And then it also maybe what we don't want to do is we don't want to go into here. Maybe we want to do is we want to tap into a relationship here. It's like a comment here is um, many comments to one image. This is what we want. And then we want to tap into the fields. They want to do a document ID here. And the document ID can be just a number or something like that. So let's save. And then what we want to do here on the left side is we want to probably throw another rich text for now. Oh, and then make sure it's in there. What? I want to add a rich text in here. Oh, we already have a rich text here. Okay, so it's gonna do a styled icon, right? Yeah, we're just gonna say this styled icon is actually not what we want. We're gonna configure it to where um, star is for people. Maybe people. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. No, people does not exist. So I'm gonna go back to update it. So here you click on the documentation. This opens up. You can actually look for your icon here. Here's where you look up your icon. Every time you use icon, there's this thing that pops up, right? That you can select which one you want here. Icons for grids. Where do you search for this? Right here, down here. Type down people or person. You can use, okay, so you might want to use user astronaut. This is kind of cool. Or user or circle or uh, whatever you want, right? User injured. Oh, these are kind of cool. So secret, user title. So as you can tell, Appian updates these things over time. And you can use, so there's, notice that I can actually probably change the size of this as well. So use editor. What I'm going to do, say color. Um, Here, I can probably put a gray on this. Maybe a darker blue. Actually going to change the height of this large text. And then I'm just gonna, I need the size of this all the way down to left. I'm gonna decrease the size of this and try to figure this out. Maybe go above it one level and then um, card layout perhaps maybe. Okay, so height is auto, margin, padding, uh, decorative, margin below, shape, transparency, use auto height. Like list the components here. I have this guy here. Column layout. Relative width. Okay, so we can automatic distribute set with fixed length. So we can do extra narrow. Okay, so we got something. So as you can tell, you have to navigate all the way up here to see the option that you need. So say for example we have this, and then let's save it. And then of course, like if you look at this, we still have like and reply and stuff like that, right? But so we could stick with this for now and then use it. We stick with this for now. Let's go back to our this guy here, and we're just going to call this rule, right? And we're just going to say this, and then a record, and then what I should have named this as is item. Look, so as you can tell, like we're getting closer and closer to what we want it to be. Now let's hide what's up here. So as you can tell, like we got the image up here, and then we got a bunch of comments here, right? So in our next video, we'll update this nested. This is here. It's called a nested interface here, so that we got the reply button and stuff, and we have also the like and reply, and then they click on reply. This thing down here opens up, and then you can type something down or something. But well, incrementally, as you can tell, like, you could use Appian to build something that nobody else has. It's really up to your imagination what you want to build. So at least we got this far. Some maybe For example, the replies indent to the right Minji, something like that. But yeah, I think this is 40 minutes. Holy shit. Okay. So, anyways, um, feel free to look at this. You have access to the IC. Do not change anything when you go into this application. Okay. The image comment application doesn't change anything. But yeah, that's it. Okay.